And I also didn't look the ring in the face. I didn't look it in the face, y'all. I didn't do it. If you're not divorced, you're still married. Fear will paralyze you. He was gorgeous. I'm sorry, I didn't know our friendship was based on the fact that I have to do what you say. What's up, babe? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya. If this is your very first time here. So today, y'all, we are not focusing on the makeup. We just gonna kick back, relax, and talk about some stuff. A couple of days ago, I did put on my story a question on Instagram asking you guys to just give me some girl chat topics, and y'all went in, sis. Y'all went in. We talking about it all today. Relationships, dating, not settling, being an independent woman, dating yourself, friends, and how to get rid of the ones who ain't real. So grab you a little drinkity drink or some water. Got my water. And a little snack, girl. Let's just sit back and chill and talk today. Before we hop into it, please make sure that you hit subscribe below if you have not yet, so that you are updated when new videos come out. Also, make sure that you hit that notification bell as well, so that you are updated when new videos go. All right, loves, let's talk. I'm excited just to talk stuff with y'all today. Y'all like the puff ball? She's back. I did do a little tutorial on Sunday's vlog that's coming this weekend, so I'm showing you guys how I do my curls and stuff, so stay tuned for that. Today, y'all, we are just gonna be talking on Instagram. I did put out a poll, or a question, not really a poll, a question to where you guys can leave me girl chat topics. So we just gonna talk today. We're not really gonna focus too much on the makeup. I do want to do something cute and fun. Maybe might end up being a little glam, neutral glam, but regardless, we're just gonna hop right into the nitty gritty because a lot of y'all want to talk about these dudes. There's lots to these. We are using the Goof Proof Brow Pencil from Benefit, and this is in the shade number 6. So, like I said, first thing we're talking about is like relationships and dating. I got multiple questions saying, why is it so hard to find a good man out here in these streets? So I feel like I feel like this question, or the answer to this question, is all about where you're meeting these people at. One thing that I have learned about myself in my own journey of finding, you know, someone, which obviously I have not found that person as of yet, but how can I realize, like, how can I continue to complain about not finding, you know, the kind of man that I want when I'm frequenting certain types of places where these men ain't never gonna be? I feel like it's a lot about kind of what your surroundings are, what your environment is, and you know, where you put yourself and where you're gonna meet these men. Yes, you can meet this great man in the grocery store, very true. But when you're in your free time and you are deciding where to go, where to spend your time, and your goal is to make yourself available to find a guy, you probably should think about what your environment is and where you're going to meet these people. And this is something in my life that I'm actually trying to get together, as far as picking and choosing my locations and where I spend my time, where I'm seen at, a little bit better, so that it reflects who I am and the direction that I'm going. I feel like that's extremely important, especially when you are a single woman and you're looking to find a guy, someone of peace, someone of purpose, someone of respect. I feel like that is my biggest advice as far as finding a good guy, because good guys, yes, they can be in these places, but well, I guess it depends on what your definition of a good guy is, you know? So that also ties into that question as well. Trust me, I think we know that there are certain places where you can find men that want to play, and there are certain places where you're more likely to find someone who does not. So the next question was, what are 3 characteristics that I want in my future husband, girl? Number one, someone who has his eyes on God, baby. That's it. That is the top notch, because I feel like if you know where you're going as far as leading me and my family and our family to God, everything gonna fall into place. Now, everything won't be perfect, but that is numero uno for me. The next, I would say, is I want my man to be my best friend. And I know that's a hard thing to say, like you're a characteristic that you want someone to have, but if you're gonna be married to someone and you believe in marriage and you want to stay married until you die, I want to live in peace. I want to live in friendship. I want to live in love. And I guess the characteristics you would say is like personality, whatever you would say is a good friend or a best friend, similar humor. Like that is the kind of thing that I feel like is really important in a spouse, because in the hard times, which there will be, if we're friends and we actually like each other and it's not just a romantic connection, I feel like you have a better foundation of succeeding in your marriage. Now, if I was shallow, I would say that he is fine, baby. Dark chocolate make you wanna, girl, just. But I'm not. But Lord, you heard me though. I would say I would want a man that is kind and sensitive to my sensitivity. I feel like I can wrap those into one, because when you're with someone who's kind, they give grace, and it's hard to be with someone who does not extend grace to you, period. That's hard, you know, not that you're doing anything wrong, but I mean just in general, just a kind person, someone who would deal with you nicely, if you know what I mean. And with kindness, like I said, also sensitive to my sensitivity, because one thing that I've learned about myself throughout the years is that I'm a very sensitive person. I used to hate that about myself, but I'm starting to embrace that, because it's not something that I can change. It's who I am. And I've dealt with men who were not very sensitive to my sensitivity, very harsh, not kind, don't even realize they're not being kind because it's just who they are, you know. And I need a man who is sensitive to that, or don't be like, oh, here she go crying again, you know. Yeah, anyway, those are my top 3. Okay, so we got a few questions that's kind of like wrapped into each other, y'all. So loving someone who doesn't love you and setting boundaries with men in general, letting go of like a toxic relationship that you might be in love with this person, or stepping away from a relationship and not settling, being taken advantage of and when to walk away, somebody coming back after they done ghosted you, girl. We're gonna talk about all of this in a lump sum while we doing the eyes. So first of all, there's a toxic relationship, and then there's not settling. And real quick, we are using the Ambiance palette from Sigma. This is a new palette, girl, and it's real cute. But yeah, there's a toxic relationship, y'all, and then there's not settling. So toxic obviously is someone who's not good for you, someone who apparently does not know how to communicate, does not, you know, respect you, or there's issues bigger in the relationship versus not settling. I feel like settling is more about not necessarily that the person is a bad guy, not necessarily that you have a toxic type of relationship, but you know that this person is not the person for you for whatever reason. Not necessarily that it's something that's bad, like he keeps cheating on you, but you don't leave. More stuff like you guys don't understand each other's love language and somebody ain't willing to come through, you know, for the other one. Like issues like that. And then you settle because you're like, you know, I'm here, I'm happy, or seem to be happy to other people, but I'm not really happy, but you know, it's not gonna kill me, nothing horrible is happening, quote unquote. You know, that's settling. I'm gonna give you guys the story of me and my ex, but I'm gonna keep it, you know, I'm trying to keep it cute, keep it classy without giving too much info. There were a lot of different issues wrapped into my relationship with my ex that I feel like it was a situation of me not wanting to settle with this person, or me, I was settling and then I decided to get out. But in general, the issues that we had was like I said, the example I just used, not really understanding or knowing the other person's love language. But it was a situation where we knew each other's love language. I tried my best to come through on his and he did not come through on mine. And when you're in a relationship, you gotta realize that you're gonna love differently than the other person. And you gotta try your best to try to come through for them with their love language. Like for example, one of my biggest love language is words of affirmation. So I like to hear I love you. So I can't be with somebody who feels like they don't need to say it if they show it. Yes, showing it probably is more important, but me, I need to hear it as well. So if you feel like there's no need to say it, you know, because I'm showing it to you and you leave it at that, knowing that I need to hear it, there's a disconnect there, because I can't completely get to where I need to be emotionally with you if I don't hear them words, and I done told you that. So we've got a disconnect. So That was one of the biggest issues for me, and in general I would say there was just a lot of immaturity on his part, that I was growing, and what he was willing to offer me was not, it was just not where I was going, and it was not what I needed. I knew I was settling. So I feel like my biggest issue with wanting to stay was, and that was another question we got, as a couple questions that I got about age and settling and, you know, staying with someone because you're getting in your 30s. I was real stuck on that, y'all. I wanted to be married by 30. If I was gonna have more babies, I needed them to be popped out of me by the age of 30, or it wasn't gonna happen. I was really stuck on that, and I was with my ex from the time I was 26 till I was 30. I left him when I was 30 years old. I'm 31 now, but it was a situation where I had to be honest with myself, and I had to realize that I am worth more than this, and sit back and say, okay, is this it for me? Is this the life that I want? Am I okay with this being my forever? And I was not okay with it, because in these situations you got to realize what is more important. Is it more important not to hurt his feelings? Is it more important to have this family and all this stuff but really not be happy on the inside, to, you know, give him everything that he needs even though you're not getting what you need, and be okay with that forever? Like, is that most important, just to have a ring on your finger and be 32, than to be happy with who you're with and spending your evenings with and laying down with every night? You know, is that more important? And that's what I really had to ask myself. So I was really hung up on, I'm getting old, you know, I don't want to start over. I don't want to be dating in my 30s, which y'all know for me is still relevant, but it was not more important than my daily happiness with this person. So the question at the end of the day really was, am I going to value myself more than, you know, these timelines I've set for myself, than his feelings and where he'll be left in this situation? I'm gonna value myself more, because we only live once, as far as we know. And you know, I'm not about to waste all of this time in my life, you know, in this situation that I know is not good for me. So after 3 years, I did break up with my boyfriend, and then he did all this stuff to get me back, y'all. Oh, I'm gonna change. Oh, I'm gonna do this. Oh, I'm gonna do that. And it sounded real good, like a week, you know, within the week of us breaking up. So I was like, okay, you done showed this, whatever, I'll take you back. But these changes have to happen. 2 months later, things started to not be changed. And it kind of just went back to how it was before. And at that moment, I had to really look at myself and my life, because I was really struggling, mostly because of my whole timeline thing. And we are cutting the crease today, y'all. It's been a while since I've done a cut crease. But yeah, I looked at all that and I decided, hey, this is not serving me. So after things were not working out again, I decided to go ahead and end the relationship again. And for that time, it was for good. And then a week later, I don't know what it is about men, y'all. I don't know what it is about men, but they suddenly want to get things right after you leave. I've been telling you this forever. I've been telling you this from jump, but now you want to make a change because your life has blown up. Whatever it is that makes you uncomfortable, now you want to make the change. And it's just like, look, you're not making that change because you want to make that change or because you agree with the change. You're making the change strictly because you want me back. You want the life you had back. You just want to get back to normal. And that's when you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and it's not gonna last. So like I said, it didn't last, and I dumped him again. And then a week later, knock knock on my window at 2 a.m. And I got proposed to in the middle of the night. Apparently, I said no. And I also didn't look the ring in the face. I didn't look it in the face, y'all. I didn't do it. I couldn't do it. I was actually really upset, and it actually really broke me down and made me cry when it happened, after it happened, obviously. The reason I was upset by that proposal was I felt like the nerve. You know that this is a situation that I'm trying to end for a reason. You're not coming here saying, let's fix this, let's do this, I'll do this, I'll change this. You're saying, I know you always want to get married, let's get married. Here's a big, beautiful ring. Let me trick you and give you what you've always wanted. And it's like, that wasn't even the problem that we were having. To have anything to do with marriage or you taking too long or anything like that. You're not even here trying to fix the issue. And what makes you think me leaving you a week ago would equal me saying yes to a proposal today? I'm not that desperate. So yeah, after that happened, I called my mother and I was highly pissed. I was highly pissed, y'all. I was highly pissed because I just felt undervalued. I did. And I felt like that was an extremely selfish move on his part. But like I said, at this time, y'all, I was 30 years old. I was at that point where I was upset that I was gonna be dating and all of that kind of stuff. And that's why I was struggling to see if I was gonna leave him. But it was a situation of, I'm settling. I know I'm settling. I know this is not what I want for the rest of my life. And especially when you love somebody, it's hard to remove yourself from a situation. It's not an easy feat. It's not an easy thing to do. It's really not. But if you love and care about yourself, you have to make some hard decisions and really sit back and think about your future, who you want to be, the type of man that you know will speak into you and your future. It comes down to loving yourself more. And that's a journey all in itself. That obviously does not happen overnight, but we have to love ourselves more to get out of a situation that we know does not serve us. And if I'm being completely honest with y'all, the way to get out of them and the way to actually make something happen is to love yourself more. And like I said, that's a journey that you have to be on. In a minute, we are going to be talking about dating yourself, or, you know, being independent and just working on you. Because if you don't love yourself enough, then you're never going to make these changes because you love him way more. You love him more, and the idea of him being happy or whatever attached to him more than you love yourself and your happiness and your goals, your desires, your all of that. Even a timeline, you love that more than or the idea of marriage more than you love yourself and your own happiness. So you have to get to a point where you loving on you more than you loving on these men or these ideas. And the last question was what to do when somebody keeps coming back after ghosting you. Girl, do not answer. Do not let him come back, because first of all, ghosting is a very immature thing. Be a grown man and tell me why you don't want to talk to me no more. Be a grown man and say, hey, I got a girlfriend, I ain't gonna chat with you. So that's already not somebody that you want to be with. So if they coming back into your life after ghosting you or after doing some crazy stuff like that, girl, next, your stock is way too high to be messing with them, because that is just immaturity at its finest. And he also has the audacity to feel as though he can come back, and that's another problem. Trust me, these men ain't gonna feel like they can come back if we haven't allowed them to come back. So we have to be the ones to set those boundaries with them to say, hey, you can't do this with me. I'm not that type of chick. But we also have to be not so desperate to make those decisions. We make those decisions based on our level of being desperate or wanting to have that person and how close we get into our little timeline, our little limit, whatever. It all, again, comes down to loving yourself and knowing, you know, that you are worth having those boundaries about yourself. Men are only gonna do what we allow them to do. And that's just on period. I don't even say that, y'all. I didn't say it like the young kids. And that's a perfect segue into setting boundaries with men. And I feel like it's so crazy that all of this, like I said, points to our self-love and how we feel about ourselves and how we are treating ourselves in our situations. You have to set boundaries with these dudes, y'all, because they will just, like I said, they will do whatever they want. They will get, if they can get away with it, they gon' do it. And I feel like, you know what? Going back to what we just talked about, matter of fact, my ex actually told me this when I asked him about it, because I was like, why is it that when y'all stuff blows up, we walk out, we are completely done based on some information we had already told y'all previously a long time ago, but y'all never listened, but now y'all want to listen because I left? What is up with that? That's what I asked him. And he was like, well, you didn't have a problem with it before. It's like, well, I had a problem because I brought it up and I said something. But he was like, yeah, but you didn't leave. Like, my life was still cool. I was still getting this. I was still getting that. You were still cooking for me. You were still doing this, doing that, even though you were saying this. We don't take it seriously for real until you actually do something about it, AKA leave. just find that extremely problematic because there's a chance that I'm going for good, sir. That I'm not just walking away to say, oh, okay, I'm gonna get my man to do this because I'm about to leave and then, you know, he gonna get it together and I'm come back. No, I am smart enough to know, especially now, that if that happens, you're not making that change for me. You're making that change to get your life back. And it's just like, that feeds into the idea that they're gonna do what we allow. Not that as soon as they do something wrong and you're asking them to do something, they don't do it, you leave. It's a situation where it's like, you don't wanna punish them, but it's like you have to figure out a way to make it known. Hey, this is very important to me. I need this, I need that. And if they're not doing it, we have got to really set our own boundaries to say, is this okay for me? Am I okay staying in this situation if this never happens? It's all about knowing yourself, what you need and what you want, and standing your ground, okay? Okay, so now we're gonna dive into a few dating specific questions. As a single mother, like, what do you date? Like, is it cool to date a man with kids or no kids? Me personally, y'all, and this is something that I actually haven't shared with you guys, but it's not set in stone, but I actually don't want any more children. And that's where I am now. Don't come at me, you know, I'm young and all this stuff. Okay, right now, I don't think I want any more kids. I think I'm good with my baby girl for now. In life can change. I'm very aware of that. But right now, that's where I am. And so I actually do not want to date anyone who wants a whole bunch of more children, because I feel like I'm doing him a disservice because I probably am not going to be that person. And like I said, things can change. But right now, as of today, May the 19th or 20th, whatever day it is, I don't want no more. So I'm kind of aware of that when I am choosing somebody that I want to date. But I'm cool with dating a man with kids. I would just prefer them kids to be older than my child. And that's real. I'm just being completely honest. Even with this mindset, I've dated or talked to guys who had kids that were younger than my daughter. I have. So it's not to say that I just flat out won't do it, but we all have a preference. I would prefer to talk to a man, if he does have kids, that's 10 or older. But it's hard when you are dating someone with children, whether you have kids like me or you don't have children. You are signing up potentially because, you know, the goal is marriage for a lot of us. We want to get married and stuff. And if you willingly, openly date someone with a child, you are unconsciously agreeing to being stepmama. Okay. And you have to be okay with that. And that idea when you start to talk to someone with a child, because God forbid, or not God forbid, but if you fall in love, you're their stepmother and you are in the picture and you will have motherly duties. So you have to know what you want for your life, who you are, you know, and your goals for your life. Somebody also said dating married men. Girl, we don't do that. No. We don't do that. Nope, we don't do that. I feel like when you date a married man and you are a woman who wants to be married, you are someone who desires to be married one day, and you willingly and openly date someone who's married. Yeah, I'm about to go in with another layer of foundation. Don't judge me, please don't. I'm just gonna do it. This video gonna be long anyway. And willingly dating someone who's married and you know they married and you just like, oh, I'm just gonna have my fun, it's fine, whatever, I don't like her anyway, or whatever the situation is. I feel as though you are blocking your blessing in your own marriage one day. And that is not what we want. At least that's not what I want. God sees that. God sees everything. And that's not okay. If you respect the institution of marriage and that's a desire of yours, then don't date no married men. Not only for that reason, but hey, how about we be a good person and not date somebody else's man? You know what I'm saying? Like, I totally disagree with dating a married man, especially if you want to get married, not only for the reason that I just said, but that man is already taken. You are wasting your time with this person. More than likely, they're not gonna leave their wife and you're the side chick. I would say 9 times out of 10, he's not gonna leave his wife. So you are wasting years and time out of your life where you could be dating someone of substance, someone who's single like you, who want the things that you want. You are just delaying your own timeline and your own blessings. So, and karma is real. I'm just gonna say that. But y'all, that does remind me of a little story time. Oh, y'all, Jesus. I used to go to Gold's Gym. It's closed now where I used to go, y'all. But there was this man in there, and baby, he was gorgeous. My crush used to be Morris Chestnut. I used to love Morris Chestnut. He a little old now. He's still fine, but I used to love me some Morris Chestnut, girl. And so this man looked just like Morris Chestnut. Just like him. He's a little struggling in the height area, but it's fine because Morris is short too, and I didn't care. But girl, he was fine. And he asked for my number, and I was like, yup, and we started talking a little bit. I think we had one conversation, honestly. We had one conversation, and in the conversation, I don't know how I got to it. Maybe it was the Lord saying, ask this man if he's married. I don't know what it was, because I mean, obviously I thought he was single. He didn't have no ring on his finger. He's the one who approached me. I found out he was separated. Now, granted, some people feel like separation is not married, or that, you know, if you're separated or you're in the process of ending a marriage, that means you're not married. That's not how I was raised. I was raised that marriage is marriage, separated or whatever situation may be. If you're not divorced, you're still married. He could have just said we're happily married instead of we're separated, and it would have been the same thing to me. I'm not gonna say it was hard, but in my heart I was disappointed because he was so fine. Definitely didn't have any hesitation telling him, yeah, baby, this ain't gonna work, and I haven't talked to him since. And actually his exact words were, we're working it out. So not only are you separated, it doesn't sound like it's like we're separated, we're waiting for the divorce papers. It was, we're separated and we're working things out. That means there's some hope. You are still with your wife, sir. So why are you trying to talk to me? I want a husband one day, and I doggone sure am not about to ruin my blessing and my king and my future over you. You fine, yeah, you real fine, but girl, but no, it's not worth it. Whew, he was fine though. I got a question about if you're in your early 20s, what's my opinion on being more casual or like dating or settling down? Please date casually in your early 20s. Please do. Oh baby, please. Get to know what's out here to offer men-wise, and get to know who you are as a woman. In my early 20s, I did not know who I was as a woman. I was a completely different person than the person y'all looking at right now. Completely different person. And it is very, very important to know who you are as a woman, because I feel like that directly, like I was talking about earlier, it directly affects the type of man you choose and that you're okay with, the type of behaviors that you are okay with. Baby, please, I beg of you, know who you are first. And early 20s is the time to figure that out, or when it first starts. You're kind of coming from being a kid or a teenager, and then you're going into your 20s and mid 20s. That is the time to date, flirt, figure out what you like, the type of man you want to entertain, the type of man you want for your life. Do not settle down early 20s. I know some of y'all do, and each case is different, because there are people who, you know, meet the love of their life in high school, and it's all good and they're together forever. So this is a case-by-case situation, but if I'm talking in general, I would give the advice not to settle down in your early 20s. I wish I could have done that in my early 20s. I'm in that stage now, which is one of the reasons why I may or may not want any more children. If I do, maybe my late 30s. But I want to enjoy that time of traveling, of doing things, where my daughter, of course, she'll be a teenager, but she will be, and actually I got some other questions about why I'm moving to Atlanta for multiple reasons. Real quick. Not only is it a better city for just opportunities of where my career is going, but Amira's father lives in Atlanta, and I want to give her the opportunity to grow up with her father in her life in her teenage years. So I say that to say, because I wanted to be in LA, y'all, but that don't make sense for me as a single mother, so I'm not going. But Atlanta is a close runner-up. I know that, you know, I'll have a little bit more freedom. Amira be in the same city with both parents, which is something I've never experienced. So I know I'll be able to travel more and everything. This is the kind of stuff that preferably you want to do in your 20s before you settle down. I kind of been settled down because I've been a single mother, you know, all of my 20s. So I kind of want to experience that, you know, now without having a newborn baby, you know, because then I really can't do as much as I would like to do. I would say definitely take your 20s to do that, so that in your 30s you have lived, you have done things, you have experienced things. Just enjoy your life. Please, that part will come, because baby, prayerfully, if you find you a husband, it'll be forever and you'll be good. But you can never look back and regret, you know, not having your 20s, because you had them and you enjoyed yourself. Somebody asked me, would I date a famous person? That highly depends on who we're talking about. Because I got me some celebrity crushes, baby. Y'all know that for a long time it was Michael B. Jordan. I'm coming off of that only because I don't really like obsessing about somebody who was taken. And now that he's taken, it's like, maybe not. He's still beautiful though. But I think I would date somebody famous. But honestly, it really depends on who they are, what their schedule is like, or what type of job they have. Like an actor, I think I would steer away from an actor, because I know as a woman, from time of getting to know myself, being single and whatever, I know that I want attention. I know that I want a man who comes home and is at home every day. An actor is not going to do that. Not gonna be able to be there. He's gonna be on set, or he's gonna be at location or whatever. Like I said, I value myself and I know what I want, and you kind of sign up for what they're offering, their lifestyle, their kids, whatever. When you guys start talking, I could care less that you're famous. I got my own money. And low-key gonna be famous myself, so I don't need that. For me, it's more about, you know, how is this gonna work with both of our lifestyles? So yes, and maybe possibly no. Last about dating we're gonna talk about is dating yourself, baby. We already been talking a little bit about knowing yourself, paying attention, and knowing who you are, which will dictate what you accept. But this is when you find out what you want, who you are, is when you date yourself. Yes, date around and see what kind of men you want, what qualities you need in them, whatever. But when you date yourself, not even necessarily that you gotta take yourself out, which I have been starting to do and I absolutely love it. Me and my girls actually yesterday were just talking about taking solo trips and just learning yourself, seeing things by yourself within your own space and your own opinions, and exploring who you are and what you want. I think that's super, super important. But it allows, dating yourself allows you, where's my brush? Dating yourself really allows you to focus on you and find out what you want, so that you are very sure about yourself. The more you know about yourself and the more you are comfortable with yourself, the less likely it is for someone to be able to persuade you in their direction. So sometimes there's nothing wrong with being persuaded into someone else's direction, depending on what it is. But you want to know who you are so you can stand your ground. You know what you like, and you're not so easily, you know, persuaded where a man comes in with what he likes and it's like, oh, okay, babe, that's cool. Knowing good and well, you probably don't like that. But if you don't know yourself, you don't know you do or not. And then you wasted time. So dating yourself is extremely, extremely important. Just taking care of yourself, being a woman who is intentional about you, it is imperative to me. And that is the stage that I am in right now. Next, we are gonna talk about female independence. This first question that I threw into this category was someone asked, what was my this is it moment that made me quit my 9-to-5 to become a YouTuber? My this is it moment, honestly, had to do with money. I am a person who grew up and did not have a whole lot. I've experienced, you know, the heating water up on the stove, you know, to take a shower because the water was turned off. I've experienced that type of life here and there throughout my upbringing. And so I feel as though that created kind of a stigma in me, or a fear in me, when it comes to money. It made me feel like I always needed to have a certain amount of money in the bank, or a certain amount of money guaranteed coming in to be okay. And I would like hoard money as an adult, because I didn't want, you know, to have less, or have my daughter to experience some of the things that I experienced and have the same issue as me. So, which is crazy, because trying to avoid one issue, I'm kind of creating a new one. But yeah, that was a big thing when it was time for me to quit, because I was very stuck on that check coming in every 2 weeks, and I was prioritizing that fear over the reality of my situation. So honestly, me quitting my job was God helping me to get through a fear. Was me saying fear is not going to control me. It's not going to control me. I am going to leave. I'm an independent woman. I am living my life. I have worked my business up to the point where I had this money coming in. But even though as an influencer you have money coming in, it's still not guaranteed. It's guaranteed, but it's like you don't know, you're not gonna get a check every 2 weeks like clockwork from a 9 to 5. And for me, that was the scary thing. And it didn't even matter the amount, because that was the thing, like my checks from my job were way smaller than the money that I had coming in from doing this. It was like, Maya, this makes no sense. But it let me know how big that fear was for me, because I was not quitting yet. It took this guy that I actually was talking to last summer to call me and tell me, and you know, we were just talking about the situation, and he was like, you need to quit. You need to put in your 2 weeks today or tomorrow. I knew I did. I knew I needed to, but that, y'all, fear will paralyze you. I think y'all know fear will paralyze you, baby. It will paralyze you. And it just literally made no sense that I was still at my job. I prayed, I asked God to help me, and he gave me the courage to go ahead and put in my 2 weeks. It was very scary for me, but that was my this is it moment. The money that was gonna hit my bank, like within the month, was more than the money I made in my job altogether that year. And it was like, Maya, face your fear and do it. I got questions in general of how to be an independent woman. Honestly, I'm gonna say that being an independent woman is it's relative in a way. In general, we see being an independent woman as a woman being able to do her own thing, to finance her own life, to take care of all of her bills, to take care of her kids by herself. You know, that's what we connect with being an independent woman. But I see it as even more than that. A woman like we've been talking about, which is the running thing, knowing a woman who knows what you want, a woman who has a goal and is going for it every single day, a woman that shows up for herself. When it comes to how to be that independent woman, everyone has their own journey, everyone has their own path, but it's really about the fundamentals on how to get there. If we're talking financially, you need to have good financial literacy. You need to know how to save your money. You need to know how to decide when to go out and when not to go out, so you have enough money to not have to ask anyone for your bills. You have to just know the direction that you're going and make decisions that support that direction. We're not all gonna get there overnight. We know this is true, but what you can do while your mother is paying your rent, while you know you might be stuck in a situation where your boyfriend is doing everything, you can make steps to get to that point. Start to save your money. Open up a savings account. Put away a certain percentage of everything that you make, you know, when you get your check. Take steps towards the right direction instead of focusing on the negative and saying, oh, I'll never get there. And also just be intentional about how you spend your time, where you are, who you're with. I feel like all of that feeds into becoming an independent woman. I got a couple questions saying, how do you stay focused and motivated, or how do you get out of a down and unproductive space? You guys know what I do. It's not an easy job. Especially because my job is very much connected with being creative and productive. It becomes very hard sometimes to be creative and productive, especially when you have the choice to not do it. If I wanted to, I can go get in my bed right now instead of be filming. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's even harder when you're doing it for yourself. There's consequences, but there's no consequences, you know? But I often have times where I'm filming or I'm coming up with a look or something and I feel as though it's not good enough, or I don't feel like I've done my best, or I'm stuck. In those moments, I stop and I pray and get the strength that you need to get through that moment. Sometimes you have to stop and remove yourself from a situation or from a certain issue and really step back and pull yourself together to collect yourself, because we make even dumber decisions under stress. So get yourself out of stress and then come back and reassess the situation. But when it comes to staying focused and motivated, you have to keep your eye on your goal. What is it that you're trying to accomplish? Where are you trying to get? What is the most important thing that is keeping you doing what you're doing? Which obviously is not an easy thing to do. For me, I would say it's two big things. For me, number one, it would be to be financially independent, completely financially independent, to the point where I can pay for my daughter to go to school and she ain't gotta have no student loans. I have so many student loans. That is one of my things. I don't want my daughter to have any student loans, any debt, you know, going into life as a woman, more so than me and, you know, my life, or wanting to travel and do, which I want to do all those things, but it's even more important to me that my daughter has that financial independence. Another big thing for me that gives me motivation is you guys. I know that there are thousands of women, individual, beautiful, wonderful women out here who wait to see my videos, who want to see me, who feel like my videos make them feel better or make their day, or, you know, a little escape from whatever it is that they're going through. That gets me up and keeps me going in the moments where I'm having an issue or I am feeling not motivated. I focus on those two things, because I know that what I do is a ministry, and I know that God works through me to tell people things that I don't even know or I'm not even aware of. I'm very aware that God does that, and if I don't show up, there's something that someone else needs to hear that they're not gonna hear. Figure out your why. Figure out your why. And let that motivate you, and really focus and meditate on those things when you are having a hard time. Because at the end of the day, it's gonna be extremely worth it. I got a couple questions asking me about being a full-time mom and doing my YouTube. Honestly, y'all, it's been a blessing being a full-time mother and being a YouTuber, especially financially. However, but one thing that I love about the fact that I'm a full-time YouTuber, I have my own business with my daughter, is that I'm really able to decide my own schedule and how, you know, for my life. Back when I was hustling, you know, I'm still hustling, but back when I was hustling before I quit my job, yeah, I would be working constantly. I would work all the time. And it was hard for me to balance and to make sure I was making time for everything and everyone. And I love now that I have the time that I need to have with my daughters. Oh Lord, I just said I don't want no more kids. Let me have me say that on accident. With my daughter in the evenings, or, you know, just to have more time to spend with her. Ugh. That's one thing that I really love about that, and that's a big shift for me, to just have more time with her. And honestly, it is not an easy thing to do. It's easier in that way, but it's still not easy, because I do have so many things on my plate as an influencer with no team yet. I do everything, and it's a lot, way more elevated than it was before I quit my job. And so balancing those thoughts and handling everything with being a mother, being there, being attentive, being, you know, just present in the moment with my daughter, and trying not to focus on the work aspect is an extremely hard thing to do. My sister told me I need to start giving myself some grace when it comes to my parenting. Sometimes I beat myself up, y'all. I do, just to be honest. I was gonna go here, but I'll be honest. Sometimes I'll be beating myself up, because when I just feel like I'm not doing a good job, what is happening? Why does she feel this way? It's got to be my fault. What am I not focusing too much? Not enough? Like, am I doing my work too much? All of that is in my head. But as parents, there's no rule book. We try our very best, and like my sister told me, I need to give myself some grace because I'm doing a good job. Thank you, Jan. Next, we have just some random questions that I didn't put into those two categories, because that's most of the questions I got in those two categories. Oh, somebody asked me about men and women splitting bills. What we think about this, y'all? I feel like, I personally, I'm cool with men and women splitting the bills. I'm okay with a man who has the mindset of we're gonna go half and half. I would prefer, someone who either pays everything or pays the majority. And I say that just because me personally, as a woman, number one, I don't see that as being an independent, or what am I trying to say? Not being an independent woman, because I feel like the institution of marriage and just relationships in general, under God and under the law, is set up for the man to be the head, the leader. But you know what I mean? Like, he's the head. He should be the head of the relationship, you know? He should set the tone. I believe that, you know, I believe in some more traditional things, but I'm also not so hung up on it that I'm not cool with nothing else. You know, that's kind of where I am. So, oh, that's icy. I don't like that for today. So I don't equate that with being an independent woman because like I said, I have my own money. I got my own thing going on. Cool. But within a relationship, within a marriage, I feel like a man is the head and he's the leader. So sir, this is your family. You're supposed to take care of it. Take care of it. I mean, that's my preference, but I'm also cool with splitting the bills as well. Someone asked me about falling out with friends. I know, sis. I know, that's a hard one. Frenemy, someone else said, more specific question, what happens when you have promiscuous friends and people think that you're promiscuous too? Real quick for that one, I'm gonna say you wanna make sure that your company reflects who you are and the direction you're going. A lot of what we're talking about is about our present choices pointing to where we're going and who we wanna be and being intentional about that. Sometimes we are the company that we keep and that sucks, but it's very, very, very true. We can't help that people will assume that we're like the people that we're with, but that's just what it is. And if you don't want people assuming that about you, you probably should get some new friends. And that's just flat out. And falling out with friends, y'all, and I think that was our last question. So we're gonna end it on that note. You know that somebody is not a good friend when, number one, they talk about other people to you. So baby, please believe they talking about you to somebody else. When they are not trustworthy with your information that you don't want them to share. And I have a big story on that one. Because look, sometimes you just gotta cut people off, okay? If that person is not serving you, if they're not serving who you are, who you're going to be in the future, or if you just flat out can't trust them, if they just flat out are making decisions that do not speak to you and your decisions, sometimes you just gotta cut people off. Trust me, I've done it twice. If you have a friend that only supports you when they agree with your decisions, that's not your friend. Because a friend is supposed to love you in and out regardless of your decisions. For example, I had a situation where I was talking to someone and the guy ended up being trash, whatever. But apparently this friend knew that they were trash or could see it on them or whatever and told me before, don't talk to him, whatever, don't talk to him. Didn't listen, of course, was talking to the dude and something ended up happening that was unfortunate and I was hurt. This friend, during my hurt time, removed themselves, self-proclaimed. Because when I asked the person, like, why weren't you there for me? All this stuff was going on. These other girls were here for me, but I would expect you to have been there for me. And they removed themselves because they disagreed. I told you not to talk to him. I'm sorry, I didn't know our friendship was based on the fact that I have to do what you say. Girl, but like that kind of stuff, y'all, that's not your friend. And you got to know that. You got to know that because eventually other stuff is going to come up that's going to show you even more that that's not your friend. So honestly, when I cut friends off, I'm very upfront. I say one of them I actually had a full conversation with. It didn't end that well. Another one, I didn't even feel the need to talk about it. And I just sent them a very long text message and blocked them and never talked to them for years later. I just feel like you just got to do what you got to do. You have to protect your space, your emotions, your feelings. And you also, like I said, with both of these topics, you want someone who is going to speak into you now and speak to your future. If they don't fit in there, they're not gonna do nothing but hold you back and bring you further to the past or the backwards. And we don't want to go backwards. We want to go forward. We did a lot of little girl talk today. This is our finished look. Obviously, I've been done for a second, just been blabbing off at the mouth. Here you go. Let's zoom in so you can see what we looking like today. And we're gonna wrap this video up. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation today. And I hope, I haven't edited this yet, but I'm hoping that I can get it around 35, 40 minutes for y'all, especially since this is our only video for like during the week. And hopefully guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. Comment below, girl, sound off on your favorite topic we talked about today. Let's talk, let's have some healthy girl talk conversation and support each other in the comments, give advice, you know, if you're willing to share, you know, just let's kick it today and for the rest of the week. If you have not yet, please make sure that you hit subscribe below and I will see you guys next time. Bye.